Hi, we're Team 4-Star, and we implore you to show me your news!
Show me your news!
And now, coming through your speakers and into your ears, it's the gaming podcast that you all know and love. It's Show Me Your News!
Welcome to Show Me Your News, the pinnacle for delivering and debating the gaming news that matters the most to you.
Rumor-filled gossip, hardware blunders, or upcoming releases.
If it relates to video games, we want to talk about it.
I am Yoko, and I turned 25 this week while I'm on a plane coming back from Chicago.
I'm Super, and I have vertigo.
I'm Tony, and I'm still cold from work last night. 11 degrees. Ugh.
Our top stories today for episode 127 of the podcast.
We're all doing bad.
I know, and we're still pulling it together. On Friday, February 1st, 2013, episode 127. Big Nintendo Direct news. Nintendo decided to drop E3 bombs even though it's not E3. How did that happen? We'll talk about it. Super Smash Bros. Melee is going to EVO. They won the donation that we mentioned last time on the show, and gamers raised a lot of money. We'll talk about that one as well. And the PlayStation brand came out with a teaser for February 20th, 2013. What could it mean, and what rumors are starting to fly around already? We've got the hilarity of the week. Devil May Cry. Some fan isn't happy about it, so what does he do? He complains to the White House. That'll be interesting. We have our story pool. We talk about the games that are out recently. Soapbox, where we do a rant of anything media related, and we've got a thought about the Super Bowl, which is this Sunday. But our guest this week is the creator of Sailor Moon Abridged. She's a member of Team 4-Star. Please welcome Megami33.
Hi!
Hey, welcome to Show Me Your News.
Thank you.
Was that Megami or Kirby?
Hi!
Could not tell. Well, Tony, I want to thank you for reaching out to her because you're like, we need more guests, and I want Megami on the show. I said, go for it. And
it was surprisingly easy. In like 10 minutes, she's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, oh, that was easy.
I don't care. I'm always up for some fun.
Yeah, totally.
It's well timed, too. We have all this money for breast cancer research, so here's a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks,
guys. That was really nice.
So planned. Thanks, there, Super.
Actually,
You are quite welcome.
to bring that up, I do have an aunt that has survived breast cancer.
That's great.
And it is a charity that I keep very dear to my heart, as I always like to do the runs every October in Jones Beach with my family. So to see this much money raised for it makes me very happy.
It's really spectacular for sure. But Tony mentioned when we were saying like I've got Megami, she wants to be on the show. I'm like, that's great. And he says, well, she's a big Nintendo fan. And I say, well, we just had this Nintendo Direct that dropped all of these big news bombs on us.
No, that's not actually how it happened. You were like, find someone who can be good at the news, and I just try to find someone good, like that people would know. Which not to say I don't like you or anything, but. And then we just happened to have all that Nintendo news, and I was just sat back and like, well, things just work out sometimes, don't they?
So you get that smug look on your face and everything. Well,
Tony should never be smug.
No, I shouldn't.
Well, it was quite the interesting Nintendo Direct because they started and we heard rumors that they would talk about Virtual Console. And honestly, the show kind of started a bit slow in a way. We were kind of, saying, okay, what's this Virtual Console? Are you going to talk about games? We knew it was going to be Wii U news. But they first started saying that there were, system updates in the spring and summer, that software would launch faster, returning the menu would be faster, which, if you have a Wii U, you know that this is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that thing does not go that quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
It is a little weird, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you're checking your notifications or whatever, like, okay, let's get back to the menu. Boop, 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 and 10 seconds later, nothing. We finally hear about the Virtual Console, though, and that's after the spring update. These games can apparently be played on the gamepad, and they're not migrating all of the games over from the Wii's Virtual Console. In fact, not even the same save files will be able to be used, but it looks like they're revamping some of these games that you can play them on the gamepad, and that is great. Because
extra $1. Some people are mad about that.
Well, that's right. I mean, they have the extra $1 fee or so. If you already have a Wii version, to do the upgrade to the Wii U version, it's $1. But honestly, if Microsoft, let's say Microsoft, for example, if they had this kind of system, Microsoft would totally make you pay the entire cost. Like, they
Agreed.
Would. So, it's good on Nintendo to actually recognize, that fact. But, people were seeing with the Wii Virtual Console, you couldn't play the games on the gamepad. So it's good that they're amending that, because I find out that's a critical feature of the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's the worst of it, I think, because that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what game.
They continued and talked about how there's going to be a Nintendo and Super Nintendo game every month until July, because the Virtual Console for Wii U won't be launched fully in place until later in the year, but they're giving out 30-cent games, for each month, one per month, that you get to keep for the entire time, and then, once that month is up, they go back to full price. Started in January with Balloon Fight. It's now February, so it's F-Zero. I'm excited for Super Metroid, and I'm trying to remember what month that is in, but, keep an eye, I think in May, maybe? But Super Metroid for 30 cents to play on the gamepad, all on that for sure. The communities are a big deal for sure. You'll have, for big 3DS games, you'll have Miiverse communities. They're looking to do Miiverse on the smartphones, which they've talked about at E3 with, that was the one with a non-specific action figure. I'm very excited to use Miiverse on my phone, because I use my phone more than I should at work. To be able to browse it on the web, much less an app coming later, would be fantastic. Although, you'd just be seeing all the different drawings that people would do.
Communities are working like Mario Kart 7 pretty much, if you're familiar with that, which I personally like. I hear people complain about it, but I don't really. I'm like, well, you got all your people here and then you play. I don't get it. I don't get why people get upset about it. There's probably some other stuff I don't know.
Honestly, I just see the communities just for the pictures, like you said. Like, there's a lot of good art out there. It's quite amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even Nintendo pointed that out. I wish they'd pointed out... I don't think I actually went back and saw Nintendo Direct, because I was listening to it during work, but I was clicking over a bit to see some of the pictures that they were featured. I know you have a friend of the show, Masterlink X, who... That guy somehow gets gray in his drawings, and I think he might be using, like, the... Correct me, I'm not even using the right term, but like all the different, small dots to, kind of create that dot matrix to create a gray. It's
dithering?
That sounds right. That thing. Some art term.
Well, I have drawn on it. I have it drawn on it myself, and I can tell why they use certain techniques like that. Because you're only given a certain amount of sizes and stuff like that. So
right. Oh, I've tried drawing on it, and it's
so even with limits, people have found a way to be awesome, pretty much.
Welcome to the internet.
We're just that talented.
Mm-hmm.
Then they started showing off the games, finally. You had, they showed Platinum games and, a teaser for Bayonetta 2, which that's still crazy to think that's Nintendo exclusive now.
I know.
They did a behind-the-scenes video. They talked about Wonderful 101.
I don't know what that game's about.
I am so excited. It seems like a Pikmin game, but just like more action-packed and with superheroes.
That's what I thought it was, but I'm like, is that what it is? Because that's weird. But
as soon as I heard about it, like long ago, when the first trailer came up, I was like, I totally want this game, and it keeps looking better and better.
Also, I just noticed Roger Craig Smith, and I'm just like, it's Sonic. In that video, he was in there predominantly.
Pikmin seems like a fair comparison. I would almost even also throw in Beautiful Joe in there, because that's kind of
definitely. Yeah. Actually, technically it is.
Character designs are totally Beautiful Joe, yeah.
Mm. I think someone is working on that. That was part of the Beautiful Joe team. I think
that would surprise me.
I'm trying to think of like the different game design lineage there, because Platinum used to be
everything like, good that Capcom made. It's them, yes.
So then that would be Beautiful Joe, then. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Good to know.
Now Capcom's just making Resident Evil 5 and stuff, so
over and over again.
Everyone's like, Capcom needs to make a new Okami. I'm like, I don't know if I want them to.
It was called Okami Den. And
that actually
was that good?
Well, I thought it was adorable, but then I'm a sucker for puppies.
I think it was pretty good. I think the problem was that it just didn't sell that well, and then Capcom used it as an excuse to not bring Ace Attorney Investigations 2 over, and that still bothers me.
Well, they did that with like the really crappy Mega Man X port to the iPhone, and they're like, no one likes Mega Man, see?
Well, that's a whole other...
I played that and it was awful.
Yeah, you know.
Iwata then came on the screen and said, hey, we want to talk Smash news, and we're kind of sorry that we mentioned it so early at E3 when Sakurai still was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like he was at home watching or something.
But Sakurai is apparently at the state now when you're coming off of Kid Icarus Uprising and saying that they are going to try to prepare at least screenshots for E3.
Nice.
And with the Smash Brothers lineage that this show has, that is big hype indeed. I don't think we can get our hopes up for a demo or anything like that. I think those who are anticipating that will be disappointed. But I think a title, or at least a working title, would be nice. I don't want to keep calling it Smash 4 when it's not going to be Smash 4.
New Super Duper Smash Bros. Deluxe Edition.
I mean, they wouldn't... yeah.
You!
And 3DS. Jesus, it's the two games. My goodness.
Like, yeah, what would they call it, actually, really? I mean...
That'd be dumb if they just called the new Mario Kart, like, 7 or something, I mean... It could do that. I don't know, a part of me, and I'm not, like, getting hyped up for it or anything, but part of me does expect, like, a video. I just feel like they'll go the extra mile and, like, surprise us. But I'm not banking on that or anything.
I think, a video is possible. I mean, you can really do anything with CG and, to render something up there, even if it's not that long.
Maybe like a 10-second clip, at least. Like, give us a 10-second clip, Nintendo, please.
Remember that crazy E3, like, first footage of Brawl with, like, Wario and Meta Knight and stuff? Oh, yeah, that was amazing. I want something like that soon. I really hope the dojo comes back.
But then if something like that... You remember, like, that was after the Nintendo press conference and at the developer roundtable, and that came out kind of, like, under the rug, and then it blew up online. That was in, 2006? I'm saying that blew up online, but let's be honest, that was when Facebook was kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm so old.
I know, I just, like, damn, I'm old moment. But no, like, we're really excited for the Smash Bros. News, and we've said on the show before, if they do a Smash Dojo again, we will probably go back to that kind of format because that's what we do at Show Me Your News. Mario, though.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's everybody's best character in?
Oh my, random.
Depends on what build you're talking about. Because
gosh, that's true.
Are you familiar with Project M at all?
No.
Nuts.
Some of our friends, because we know some of them, like, pretty much are hacking the Brawl build to make it more competitive.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun though. Like, I'm not a competitive player.
I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Like for like tournaments or that competitive like that.
It's more balanced is the thing. Like, Super can do like stuff in frames that I don't even know what he's doing, but I just play casually and have fun. And me and my buddies all play casually, and it's just much more balanced, and you don't trip, which is good.
Oh, okay. Well, for the Brawl sense, my best character is Pikachu.
I saw that coming a mile away.
Ha!
Pikachu's good.
And I always have to have the goggles on.
Of course.
It makes you better.
It totally does. Everybody knows that.
Although when you need to concentrate, you put on the bandana. Put on the banana.
And my second best character is actually Yoshi. I only play cute characters.
Really? I'm just glad it's not Meta Knight, because Meta Knight is ridiculous.
I do play Kirby, but I'm not really into Meta Knight, and I do think he's a little cheap.
Mm-hmm. I like Toon Link. I don't know. Toon Link is fun.
He plays Wind Waker a lot.
Yeah.
Marth and Mario.
Okay.
I like Captain Falcon too.
Captain Falcon's pretty
good.
Dude,
dude, over the weekend, Nick was recovering, and I Falcon punched him, and it killed him, and I was so happy. That was like moment of the week.
Every time you land a Falcon punch, There's just happiness inside.
I think I control the entire SMYN community with Ganondorf and have multiple years. Again, Cyberlink 420, I am so sorry for doing that to you on stream.
But yeah, Brawl has had many different iterations, and it's kind of interesting if you've ever followed its lineage. This Project M is kind of like the culmination of all this editing. It actually even has a page on IGN, so like it actually got pretty big recognition there, but it's really great stuff.
Well, would I only be able to play it on the computer, or like how would I be able to play it?
Well,
if you have an SD card.
Yeah.
If you have an SD card, you'll be able to play it on your Wii.
Okay.
It's pretty neat. And like they add a bunch of little stupid fan servicey stuff like Diddy Kong's downtown is him juggling. Like when you just idle pose. Just little things like that.
Wario's totally different.
Oh yeah, Wario. Yeah.
I will have to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to do that.
On the Mario front, they not only said that there would be a new 3D Mario being made by the Galaxy developers, but also a new Mario Kart for Wii U confirmed. What a shocker.
Oh man.
It's not a shocker, but it's still good to
it's still totally great. And I can only imagine what they'll be doing with Miiverse and with that second screen, especially more so for Mario Kart.
True, yeah.
Like a
Mario
first person view. And...
No, that's just gonna be like the map like they've been doing with the DS, I would imagine.
You can imagine though, maybe like they have a little button or touch button or whatever where they flip over to like a different kind of view, because not everyone uses that map.
Man, when I see blue shells that far away, it's helpful because I'll like back up into the person in second place so he gets caught up in the explosion.
Yeah, maybe it's the reverse angle.
Yeah.
Although now I'm thinking about the gamepad as like a first person kind of view, and then I'm thinking like Pokemon Snap 2 would be so great.
Oh my god, I've been bitching about that on Twitter for like ever.
Wouldn't it be the best?
Especially what pissed me off was in that feed. They go like, oh, in a new Pikmin game, you can take pictures of the Pikmin. Like, that's great. How about we do that for Pokemon Snap 2? What's taking so long?
Or just
I can't believe
Pokemon
they
Snap
showed
1.
that. Like, it made me happy, but at the same time, I was so pissed that they showed that.
That was a bit insulting, yeah.
I wonder what... No, go ahead.
I was going to say both games for the Mario are going to be playable at E3, though, so...
Nice.
I mean, Nintendo is kind of building up to this E3, and it's almost like I hope they haven't shown all their cards already. Although they didn't talk about what Retro is working on, so...
They're showing less cards. They're going to like not have some of that stuff there because E3's been disappointing as heck lately.
E3 has been disappointing as heck.
Maybe Nintendo's getting gutsy because, they didn't do that well last year.
The one E3 I went to was in 2010, and I was at that Nintendo conference, and that was when they showed like all the games and the 3DS and all that.
Oh, I was there for that too. Actually.
Awesome! Really? That's so cool.
I was helping Crows with some game interviews and stuff, so I got to do Nintendo stuff.
Awesome.
And
Crows got to go to E3.
Well, actually, he goes a lot for Comics Online. Which, if anybody's interested, go to comicsonline.com for all your geeky news.
Good plug. We like plugs.
I used to do some anime reviews on there, too. No, when I was there, I was in heaven because it was my first E3, and I got to see the 3DS and all these pretty colors, which we don't have.
I know.
And just like when me and Crows were trying out the camera and all the demos, I was ecstatic. I was a happy girl that day. I thought that was a good E3 in my opinion. But then again,
that was a good one.
I'm a fangirl. They definitely did not do well last year.
Nobody really did.
No, nobody really did. I mean, PS3 maybe won by an inch, but
Ubisoft won.
Yeah.
Ubisoft was great, but
it was a pretty bad E3.
Let's end our show with video game fireworks.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Nintendo, what are you on? And
can I remember, like, me? I always have to wake up early for those things just because of my shift, and just me and you were watching that Super, and then I was just like falling asleep during Nintendo Land.
I looked away and was kind of like, are they still talking about? Yep, okay. I mean, it wasn't as bad, which is why I was so surprised when Megami said that Sony won by an inch. I'm just like, Wonderbook.
You were the one who thought Microsoft won. Don't even start.
Okay. Do I have to say it again? Do I have to say it again? They were the most entertaining because they were so bad. They had a whole bunch of bad, but then they had a lot of good. That's why they won. They consistently entertained me because when I was pissed off, I was at least reacting. Wonder Woman was just me staring at the screen going, when will this end?
To be fair, it's doing very well with children.
I guess so. I wonder how that the Sesame Street game did. Was that 2001?
Actually, yeah, what happened with that?
I mean, it came out, but then again, we're not the target audience, so...
I know, but I thought that was really cute when I heard about that game.
I felt like that. I am so dizzy.
And now that you just brought that up, I'm like, oh yeah, right. Did that come out?
That was a thing.
I've seen it at my work.
That's sad. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Speaking of adorable games, Yoshi's Yarn.
Yay!
I mean,
I was happy about this, but at the same time, as I was watching more, I'm like, did they just take Kirby out and put Yoshi in instead?
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
But it's the same game, it looks like.
I don't know how to feel yet, because my buddy's a huge Yoshi fan, and he was just kind of like...
Oh no, so am I. I'm very happy to see another Yoshi game, but it looks like they just coded Kirby out and just put Yoshi in.
I'm okay with this.
It's the fact that, I don't know, Yoshi's Island had that really cool, creative, like, almost crayon style, and it was really pretty. And I just kind of wish they'd do that.
Well,
yeah,
it's kind of like a progression, like a natural progression.
How was it a progression from pastels to yarn?
Well, no, that actually is, because they had pastels. It looked kind of like a coloring book. Then Yoshi's Story happened, and that was like patchworks and pop-up books. This is now yarn and felt.
I don't see how yarn has the greaterness than...
Yeah, how do you scale that?
Because HD.
Yeah, it is HD.
That. No, it's just more... It's more of a... Yoshi's... All of his, like, mainstream titles have all been kind of had this almost kind of wacky art project feel to it. The first Yoshi's Island was watercolory pastel. It was really awesome to look at. Yoshi's Story was, patchwork and pop-up books.
And so don't forget Yoshi's Cookie. Anybody remember that game?
Yeah, that was all about baking or something.
I have no idea what that game was
Yoshi likes to eat, so they made a cookie game. It makes sense, right? Right?
Yeah, I was blown when I learned that was like a freaking Super Nintendo.
I don't mean to harp on Yoshi, but just like right away, I was just thinking Kirby's Epic Yarn. But I'm looking forward to it when I hear more about it.
I'll totally play it.
I mean, I'm gonna get it. Yeah.
It made me think back to there was the news that someone had hacked into the Wii U's kind of like debug menu in like its first couple days, and they found different community pages for different games, and one of them was Yoshi's Land Wii U or something like that.
Huh.
So everyone's like, there might be a Yoshi game coming up, and I don't think anyone predicted that it would be a yarn game. But it's nice to see something like that come out and go through the.
It's nice to see a Yoshi game.
More Yoshi.
Although at the same time, and also you had Resident Evil on that list, and it turns out Resident Evil Revelations is going to be coming out. But then also on that list was Metal Gear Solid, and I wonder, Ground Zeroes?
Oh,
maybe.
We'll see. Biggest surprise of the whole Nintendo Direct, I think, was Shin Megami Tensei, Cross Fire Emblem.
Actually, quick story, if you want to know why I chose the name Megami, actually.
Does it have something to do with Yu-Gi-Oh?
It does, actually. I was really into card games, especially Pokemon. Then when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, I got into that as well. And I got the Kaiba deck, and my little brother got the Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And in the Kaiba deck, there is a fairy card called Wakken, I don't know how to pronounce her first part. It's like Wakken something Megami. And I just really like that name.
That's why I thought you chose the name.
At first I made a character named Megami, just like, because I also like to draw and write and stuff. My first user account was Suds33, and then when that got taken down, I'm like, I like the name Megami, so I'll just do Megami33. And then later on, I found out that it meant like princess and stuff, so a lot of people thought like, oh, she just picked that because she thinks she's better than everyone. I'm like, no, I just got it off a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I didn't know what it meant.
It's a Japanese word.
Well,
that's almost like
back then we just took like random Japanese words and we didn't look them up, and then when the internet exploded, we could look up all this information.
Oh, for sure. I picked the name. I picked the name Yoko because of Yoko Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho.
I love Kurama.
And then everyone's like, "Hi, Yoko, Gurren Lagann, girl and boobs, and all these other Yokos, Yoko Ono, Yoko Kano," and I'm like, "Fuck off."
My name's Super. For Super Mario.
It's me.
Super Sonic.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony. What's your name?
Is Tony.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna embarrass the hell out of you yet.
I wish I had a cool story.
Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, though, very surprising crossover for Wii U. You just have Fire Emblem Awakening coming out on 3DS this week.
I've heard crazy, amazing things about that. Like, everyone's talking it up.
Everyone really is, and I mean, it looks to be great for sure. I think some people are kind of confusing that Shin Megami Tensei means Persona characters.
Oh, well, yeah.
And I don't think that's the case.
I think the problem with it is because Persona has such a huge rep.
Right.
It's very popular, and everybody's going crazy over the Vita version now.
The Vita version is fantastic.
Exactly. So those newcomers, those people that only associate that name with Persona, and then they see this and they're just like, "Oh, we're Persona?"
Right. Persona is its own thing in Japan, for those that do not know. And then Shin Megami Tensei, they have their own main series of games. They're working on Shin Megami Tensei 4. And then they have, Devil Survivor and Nocturne and all these other different games. I mean, you may have noticed there were no Persona characters in that trailer, so I think those looking for a Persona character, because some are like, Persona and Fire Emblem, what is this? And like, not really, no.
Yeah, we
no.
don't.
I don't know anything about Shin Megami Tensei.
Neither do I, but Persona, hell yes.
Much about Fire Emblem either, so.
Well, Marth and Roy and Ike.
See, this is
That's
exactly the problem. Everyone forgets these games.
That's
And
why
only
they want
pays attention to Persona.
There you go. Well, The Legend of Zelda they also mentioned, and they're talking about how they want to break the linear conventions. Yes, because that's exactly what they said last time with Skyward Sword. Granted, I liked Skyward Sword. Not a lot of people, totally bought into it, but I enjoyed it.
I think it's very half.
I played it at Comic-Con. It was another Zelda game.
Yeah, it sure was a Zelda game.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but growing up with my brothers, we didn't play Zelda that much, so I was never really into it. The games I've only played with Zelda were on the Game Boy Color, and then I got the first Wii Zelda game, and I was just never into that series. Really, I don't know. I know a lot of people are really big into it because it's got a huge ass timeline, and there's a lot of games for it.
I've been playing Zelda for much of my life. So the fact that they say they're going to break linear conventions with Skyward Sword made me laugh when I beat it, because I'm just like, that was linear as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a point where you could choose this, like you could go here first, or here first. That was the only non-linear part about it, was that you could choose to go to this one instead of this one.
Well, they were just like conventions too. Like I think I very remember them like, oh, we're not just gonna have it to where you get an item in the dungeon and then you use that item to beat the boss. But that's totally what happened. So hopefully they break that too.
I will say that it did have my favorite boss battle in the history of Zelda. So.
Oh yeah, that 8 sword-handed thing. Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. Kalaktos, I think the name was.
That thing was great. I like the final boss too. He was cool.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Girahim was far more epic of a fight.
Yeah.
Or Girahim, or however you want to call him.
And he had a better theme too. Anyway, the point of it, like they said, it's years away, and so to tie you over, we will release. We've been looking at these different art styles and how they would transfer over to Wii U, and then you may recognize this, and then they play, this familiar Wind Waker music. This is Windfall Island, and this is in HD, and you know what? We're just going to release Wind Waker in HD this fall for Wii U.
I think
Not
me and
December. Not next summer. Wait, yes. Next summer, but...
No, don't do that. I think me and Yoko
Not
both
next
were just.
spring.
It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Me and Yoko both were like, yes.
I was so yes in my mind because again I was watching it at work and I think I just felt like the blood drain from my head and just like lightheaded, just like what is happening?
I know.
But
Megami, are you familiar with Wind Waker?
I am familiar with it, but I haven't really played too many Zelda games. I know of the Zelda games.
Mm-hmm.
Wind Waker actually is the only one that I've played but not beaten.
Oh yeah.
Understandable.
Oh yeah, there's that part.
that
part.
Oh, I just remembered. I did play another one, and I don't know why I even played this one, but I played a Zelda game where Link was always on a train.
Oh yeah,
that one.
Spirit Tracks.
I do not know what grabbed me into that, but I'm like, I could use something new to play.
Spirit Tracks was an interesting idea, but I think if they switched the name around, I think it would have been a much better game. Legend of Zelda: Track Spirit.
Now, see, where does that game fall into the timeline?
I forget.
Right after Phantom Hourglass, and then on one of the 3 timelines, because that's a whole other discussion for another time why there's 3 timelines.
Here's the thing with the timelines. If it was cool because nobody knew for sure what it was, and then Nintendo's like, here you go, so I really don't care anymore. There's no mystique anymore.
They now have the book, the Hyrule Historia book, out in America, and
oh god,
that's now a thing.
It is a thing.
And are people like actually seeing if there's something wrong about it, or trying to see if they're actually right?
I don't know.
Well, part of the timeline is for Ocarina of Time is that the hero dies, so that Link fails. So then you just think like, well, Link can fail in any other game. That doesn't split the timeline. Why is it Ocarina that matters? I
was watching a Did You Know Gaming, and they were talking about just some of the Easter eggs from like other games, and they were just calling them Easter eggs because they weren't that in the timeline. And I'm like, how are we supposed to figure things out if you're throwing in Easter eggs of other games that aren't in the timeline? We can't figure out if it's like historic or you're just like messing around. That's not fair.
That's a good point. I don't know. I'm kind of excited for Wind Waker HD. Who am I kidding? I'm so excited. But they say that they are going to also tweak gameplay. And I wonder if that means, because part of the myth for Wind Waker is that, the whole Triforce Shard quest at the end of the game that nobody likes except kind of me, because I'm weird.
And that's when I stopped playing the game.
They say that was, rushed and kind of a patch job because there were dungeons that were cut from Wind Waker. And it's like, could we put those dungeons back in Wind Waker now that you have the time? Or they had, things like the Tingle Tuner, which was specifically, featured for Game Boy Advance, that Tingle, of all people, would help you find secrets. Well, maybe they embed that in the Wii U, the gamepad.
Oh yeah, gamepad. They could.
That is.
I had to use that to like. There's a part where you have to use the leaf to like go really far over water.
Yeah.
I did that for War Magic because I always ran out.
Mm-hmm.
There's like no way I could not do that.
Yeah, you got to hit that twister just right. But not only is Wind Waker HD looking really good, Monolith Soft went out and
don't feel bad.
They showed a trailer, teaser, whatever you want to call it, for a new game. And it looks very much like Xenoblade Chronicles, maybe mixed with some Monster Hunter.
That's what I got.
Looks crazy good in HD, and then like the character shifts into a mech, and then it's just like
that was
mind blown. They ended with the big red X on the screen, so we don't really have a working title. Although that X is kind of familiar to Xenoblade, Xenogears maybe. So it's hard to say, but definitely reminiscent with the HUD and the kind of gameplay of Xenoblade Chronicles. We'll see what happens with that, but I mean, Wii U is getting some games, and that is more than they can say for the next 2 months, because they're like, for January and February, we've got nothing. But March, hey.
Which, honestly, I'm fine with, because I still gotta beat Black and White 2.
I still have to buy a 3DS and play Black.
Honestly, in my opinion, again, I am a fangirl, but I think Nintendo is going the right pace, because right now I have so many games that I still need to beat that I don't want new games right now. Like, I'm fine with waiting in March. Actually, I'm very excited for March, because March is when Luigi's Mansion 2 and the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon come out.
Yeah.
So I'm totally just going to Nintendo World, buying those both. It's going to be awesome.
March for Wii U is also, or maybe at the very end of February, Rayman Legends. And that's going to be pretty awesome as well.
Never a huge fan of Rayman, but it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Origins is really good, and then you have the demo that they had at all the different Best Buy stations and what have you, and that was really impressive. And yeah, also Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I mean, Nintendo's getting the games, and then you look at Microsoft and Sony right now are in this kind of stalling transition period, and we'll get to talking about that soon with the PS4 and all that, but Nintendo's on a good path right now, and people can, knock their games, their strategy all they want, but they're in a good place, I think.
I wanted to say that Monolith game looked like to me, and don't take this in a bad way if you don't like the game, just graphically and a few little things that look like FF13 to me.
I was just going to say that, actually.
It had a very Final Fantasy 13 feel
to it. It definitely does.
I'm not saying it's going to play like that, so don't jump on me.
Because FF13 is gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, but to look at that game, yeah, that's one thing.
They're just not fun to play anymore.
Oh, hey-o. There it is.
I'm sorry, I'm more of a Tales series fan myself.
Thank you!
I'd like to play some of those, but I do like FF a lot.
Granted, they started getting more, linear, they don't let you, at least with Tales of Symphonia and New Dawn, that was just kind of, straight in the path and everything. Mm-hmm. You get, a few little Easter eggs and stuff, but, Tales of Symphonia, you could go everywhere. There was shit everywhere. It was awesome. You don't have to be, in a Pokemon battle. You could defend and run around and stuff. That's how you play an RPG.
I'm hoping that Vesperia becoming a download for the PS3 is a thing that actually happens.
Oh, man.
Vesperia looks beautiful.
When Tales of Vesperia comes out, and if we get the version that Japan got, just localized for America, I will have to buy a PS3 for it. Hands down, this is something that needs to happen.
Well, even better if it comes out for free on PlayStation Plus, because, they're dropping all those different games that are for free. I think, the latest one was Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus for PlayStation Vita, and then Darksiders, and for PS3, I mean, PS Plus, y'all.
And yeah, I mean, I used to defend Gold whenever I could, and I still defend it as whenever someone goes, well, you got to pay for it. I'm like, dude, it's less than $5 a month. It's a pizza a month.
It's a pizza a month.
I buy things, and I justify by Little Caesars hot and ready pizzas. Why? Because I've got one right there across the street. Makes it very easy to keep it as a visual cue.
Mm-hmm.
I could buy this, but how many pizzas could I buy for this? And it's I haven't had a pizza in a very long time.
Really?
But yeah, I'm cutting carbs for this year but I'm not doing a carb diet. I'm doing a just watching carbs instead of bread all day long.
Would it feel bad if I let you know I have a Little Caesars hot and ready in my kitchen right now?
No, it wouldn't. It would if I knew that you used Little Caesars spice packs, but
no, hell no. And then we got the crazy bread because that shit's the best.
See, another thing is friggin' I worked at Little Caesars for a little while, and I saw how that stuff was made, and
that kind of ruins it. Yeah,
it takes a lot of me to actually eat crazy bread.
You're making me hungry.
I'm sorry.
How is Tony not back in this call? How did he drop?
I'm telling him to join the call. He hasn't realized.
I'm just that Tony, we're missing that voice there. Well, let's talk about Evo while we get that whole thing sorted out. We mentioned last time on the show that the fighting game community and Shoryuken and Evo, there's going to be an 8th game added to the Evo circuit, but it would be decided through a donation drive. All the proceeds going to breast cancer, great cause. And at the last time, for the last show, we were saying that, Super Smash Bros. Melee, had a pretty sizable lead over, Skullgirls was in second place, but, for a fair margin. Well, things got a bit crazy. I don't know, Super, did you follow this one pretty closely?
I followed it not too closely. No, community member Major Moses, he just went crazy on this thing,
Yes.
and it's like I've never seen like SMYN just post in other boards and such like that, and he was everywhere. He was on their main website. He was like literally putting forth like keys for games for like incentives to donate, and that was pretty much one of the coolest things I've ever seen the community members do. You know, outside of the various Show Me Your News contests.
Right.
But
we've had some good contests for sure.
Yes. But just the amount of money that was donated at the very end. I've got the final totals all right here.
Please break it down for us. Break it down. No.
This is the final totals. This is the final totals that I have available to me. I don't know if they're right perfect, because to be honest, I can never get these freaking WePay pages to load the same every time. But the final totals were for Super Smash Bros. Melee. I'm just going to do a top 5. Is for Super Smash Bros. Melee was $94,683.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that Smash community.
That is strictly grassroots community Smash Brothers.
It's for an 11-year-old game, 12-year-old game.
Yeah. I just want everyone to think about that for a second. It's like, yeah, we did like drives and we did matches, as in like donation matches. Actually, we did both. We did actual game matches and we did donation matches up to like $4,000, stuff like that. But outside of one mysterious $4,000 donation that we don't know where it came from, at least as far as I know.
That sounds fishy.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because in place was Skullgirls at $78,760, and that one ate like so many huge donations, like $5,000 ones. They were just getting huge donations from everywhere.
Well, it was great to see for the Skullgirls community, because you had a lot of the voice actors, you had a lot of people getting involved with that, doing personal messages, or there was like a $1,000 bid and you'd get like a 1-hour session with Wendy Lee. I mean.
And I think one of the guys, somebody was getting a tattoo or something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think someone shaved their head as well and stuff like that. They had a bunch of stuff going on for Skullgirls. I'm not saying like, oh man, it's a good thing Smash won. No, I have to give it to all of these communities. They really banded together to go. Like they went big. They all went big.
Oh, for sure. And like I'm speaking on behalf of the Smash community. I saw someone point this out on Facebook, and I'm not sure if it's the same for the other communities, but for Smash at least, like this is a community where sometimes people have trouble paying their tournament entry fees. And yet they're giving to charity like this, and that's fantastic.
And what probably the weirdest display was Super Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, I think it was called.
Yes.
I only have it abbreviated as ST here, but it was 39,567. And that was basically accrued all in one day in under 12 hours.
Wow.
Just like 6 days ago, I think it was at somewhere in like 1,000, 2,000, and then just all the money. It caught
all
Smash.
Of the money.
It caught up with Smash. It passed Smash for a little while there for like an hour. Same with Skullgirls there towards the end, but then everything just ramped up to like 0 to 60, like nothing. And in the fourth place, we had 5,280 for My Little Pony Fighting His Magic.
They had to make a concession at the beginning, didn't they? Like it was leading really early on.
It's not done yet, yeah?
Yeah, it got.
Wow, it's not even done, and it raised that much money.
Here's the funny thing about it.
Bros, man.
When it was going for the when it was going for the 8th slot, and that was it. It's like that was the only thing. It's just like whoever donates the most gets the 8th slot. My Little Pony Fighting His Magic ripped into everyone else. They had basically $4,000 before Melee could even hit $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And very quickly, SRK got in contact with the main 6 developers, And it's like, we don't want, in the end, it's just like, it's an unfinished game. We don't want to have this kind of floating due date for this game. So we don't want to rush it. So in the end, what they did is just like, if MLP wins, they'll do an expedition.
Expedition?
A secret expedition.
The Oregon Trail.
An exhibition match. An exhibition tournament. I can't say exhibition, apparently. But
fun fact about that game, I actually tried out for Fluttershy for that game.
No.
I didn't get it, but I got an honorable mention, actually. If you look on their website, I'm one of the honorable mentions for Fluttershy.
That's really cool.
So that's something, I guess.
Yeah. Well, right now they're just trying to get the main 6 down, so there's probably a lot.
I was just gonna say, because I don't think they have Rainbow Dash yet, right?
No, Rainbow Dash was one of the first ones, really.
Was it? Okay, I don't remember.
They've got voices for all the main 6, but there's a lot more characters that they're probably going to work on as they go on. So, but they changed the rules up a little bit for MLP early on, and that's when donations kind of stopped for it. It's like they weren't going to give the 8th game to MLP because the main 6 developers didn't want that kind of floating release date for it. They didn't want to force themselves. So,
right.
The donations for that kind of tapered off because I'm going to be honest with you. The Brony community, some of the things they've done for charity is amazing and a little scary at times because of how much money they just pour. Like, I don't know where the Brony community gets all its money. I just know they have donated hundreds of thousands, if not millions, by this point.
I guess at this point, how they get it doesn't matter. As long as they are donating to these charities, I think that's good. Mm-hmm. As long as they're not killing anybody or anything. Yeah. or robbing some banks or something. I mean,
friendship is magic. Now give me your money.
Friendship is magic.
What about the 5th place game there?
5th place, it tapers off kind of. It's like after 39,000, and you get to MLP's 5,000. It tapers off to basically. Generally the same with all the rest of the games, which is $1,900 is Dead or Alive 5.
Huh.
Yeah. Dive Kick came in at came in at 9th at $650. And
what about Brawl?
I don't know, like 15th place or something like that. Thing is, like, at the very start of at the very start of all of the donations, a Smashboards mod locked and almost banned anyone posting the link to the Brawl donation links.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was not accepted well. But by the time that they were really stopped, it just didn't make sense to split our money between Melee and Brawl anymore.
That's true. It's a divide and conquer.
Yeah, it wasn't a divide. It was a house divided against itself cannot stand.
Sure.
Kind of thing. So, yeah, divide and conquer wouldn't have worked here. So Brawl came out 4th to last. No one put any money towards Brawl after the first week, basically. But
how much is the total? Because that's a big total.
The aggregate total I don't have here, but I can easily pop it. I can just throw it in my calculator here and have it for you in about 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, the SRK article, announcing that Smash wins says fighting game fans raised over $225,000.
I think it's actually closer to.
I'm sorry, 225,744. That's the total that they have down here. Well done, fighting game community. Well done, all for breast cancer research. That's
remember
fantastic.
when fighting games were almost like dying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is nice. Also, with all the like shootings and stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, games are downfall of society." I like seeing things like this too.
Oh, you mean the senators that say that video games are a worse problem than guns? Is that what you...
Yeah, exactly. And then you just see something like this, and it's like, oh yeah.
Well, if
awful.
anything, this may like persuade them, or show that we're not just playing games just to kill other people. We can also use it as a beneficial thing too.
Definitely. I know there was stuff with like delaying. Yeah, fighting games, right? There was stuff with delaying the due date when this is all done, and then confusion and all this. And so at the end of it, I kind of got sick of it. I just wanted to know who won. I wasn't so bought in to the hype personally and following every donation, every spirit bomb. Lend me your energy, lend me your money. Like there was.
To be fair, the spirit bomb the last 2 hours, Melee grew about $20,000.
I'm not denying their effectiveness. I'm just saying I wasn't about to stay up late when it was due date at almost midnight Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern. Granted, I might have been up at that time, but still, I just wanted it to be over. And now I'm kind of just like, I'm really happy for the fighting game community, but I'm just kind of done with this story for right now. And I know that in July or whenever Evo is taking place, I'm going to be very hyped not only to see games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Persona 4 Arena, but now also Super Smash Bros. Melee, and that's awesome.
Do you remember when the Skullgirls account tweeted that "Get ready for a real fighting game" and that flared a bunch of butt hurt?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. $225,000. Wow.
And 32 cents.
Yeah, it's always a random amount of cents.
Yeah. 225,744.
That's
Well,
fantastic.
well done.
Almost, we're looking at almost $250,000 here
That's nuts.
for research. And man,
Hey.
I love donating to research.
Well,
Really?
Research
I do.
it yields results.
I couldn't tell
Yeah.
if there was a sarcasm or not.
No, there are sometimes like where charities, I'm a little worried about them because some of them is like breast cancer awareness, a lot of that kind of stuff. I get a little bit antsy about because it's like that's awareness. That's not gonna actually fix the problem, especially since awareness. You can get awareness by going, "It's breast cancer awareness month." Okay,
Wow.
I'm aware of it now, and I understand the merits of it, but like, so I see so much more for breast cancer awareness than I do see for breast cancer research charities that I think people aren't really kind of understanding the difference between the two sometimes.
I guess it's more in a way of just knowing, getting yourself checked up once in a while and making sure that you're healthy,
Yeah.
I think it's more like that because in this day of age, we do need to be aware of how we eat and, how long we stay out in the sun. We need to be more careful, and sometimes we just don't care about those things before it's too late,
Mm-hmm.
And this show just got real.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about
I was almost saying like. So vidja games.
Yeah.
Video games, come on!
Sony came out with this really strange teaser a couple days ago, saying that that likely the reveal of the next PlayStation would be February 20th, and a lot of sources are coming in. Wall Street Journal is saying that yes, it is for the next PlayStation.
That's crazy.
I know.
You think that they would wait for E3, but we're talking less than 3 weeks away.
This is a ballsy move by them. Very ballsy.
It's funny to me just because we've been talking about how E3 has just been bad and how Nintendo and Sony and others have just been like, well, E3 is just for the shareholders. And now I just see Nintendo do this direct and Sony's like, we're just going to announce it now. And I'm like, cool.
Oh.
And then Microsoft is sitting there and they're like, Kinect?
Yep.
Look at our Kinect. Want to see us dance? Maybe a little bit of lip syncing? I mean...
Maybe we'll actually fix it for E3. Oh!
They keep talking about freaking 4 walls and stuff like that. I don't know which one. Whenever I keep on thinking about that 4 wall thing, I always think about Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
And
you can't.
Wow.
You just can't.
I'm just like, who would think of this and go, this is a good idea. There's nothing in mainstream society that downplays the idea of 4 walls closing you in with nothing but media.
I just hear all this stuff with like PS3 and whatever new Xbox, and I just see Nintendo sitting there with their like good standard like HD thing, And I'm like thinking all this stuff's going to be crazy expensive, and I think there's a very good chance Nintendo's just going to be like, well, we got this $300 thing that looks really good still.
And then you have people like Michael Pachter saying like, oh, well, the Wii U only competes against the 360 and PS3 anyway, derp derp derp.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are also interesting rumors coming out about the PS4 that supposedly one of the features, if this is to be believed, is that the PS4, or Orbis, or whatever you want to call it, name not confirmed, will support gameplay recording up to 15 minutes that players can edit and then post online, which kind of makes sense since Sony bought Gaikai, and that's kind of like almost like a live stream, well, not really a live streaming service, but cloud gaming service. And so you got to think that Sony's got to do something unique and original here. And the supposed touchscreen on the controller that's, pretty small, they're doing away with the DualShock supposedly, that's not going to cut it. I mean,
no.
Nintendo has
the banana.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Nintendo tries the gamepad, and that's unique, but we got to think like what's the actual feature that's going to sell this thing? If it's not backwards compatible with 3, and 2 would be nice, but if it's not backwards compatible with 3, what's the point?
That's going to hurt a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
This is really scary because if they're really revealing all this very soon in a matter of a few weeks, what on earth are they going to show for E3?
Games,
probably
maybe?
just more.
You think you think they'll have enough games to suffice for that?
Well, it's
If they're
possible.
focusing on it.
I mean, the part of the rumor also is that it would be for release holiday of this year, and that sounds crazy. But then you also look at some of the studios that have been basically done for a little while. I mean, Polyphony had Gran Turismo 5, and I know that was a very long development there, but they have had nothing since then. Rumors of a new Uncharted, perhaps, from Naughty Dog, a different team.
I think we're due for Infamous 3, too. It's been a little while.
Yeah, Sucker Punch, absolutely. I mean, so some of these big Sony franchises have been dark for a couple of years here, and maybe they were working on this. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I do propose the counterpoint, though, that like we mentioned it a little bit earlier. What is Microsoft going to do? I mean,
I think they're gonna focus
Halo
on
4 just came out. They're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, Gears of War Judgment is their pretty much only first-party game this year. So you think maybe they're doing development for their next system, but are they leaving it for an E3? Is it going to be another day before, the Sunday they had the Natal experience? No, that was when it was Connect officially. The big Cirque du Soleil thing that really failed at E3.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. That was weird.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it almost feels like I wonder if Microsoft will be caught a little flat-footed here. And we're at this period of transition here with Sony and Microsoft, and it goes back to what we said before. I think Nintendo's in a good position right now with the games all set for their systems.
I just want to...
Microsoft's just going to come out and look at all these apps and stuff it can do, but we don't have games still. Because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest with you. I just don't know if it's going to be enough for Sony. I'm not even talking Big 3 staying in the game. It's staying in the market is being good. I'm talking about literally, are they still making a profit to where they can even still pursue this kind of thing? Because I haven't been hearing good things for Sony as a whole, as in not Sony the game developer. I'm talking Sony the company.
Oh yeah,
I've been hearing stuff from Microsoft too. That's just a lot of their stuff's not been doing good too.
Yeah, Microsoft's been doing terrible decisions across the board. Just look at Windows 8 for a little while and just kind of go,
that Surface. God. How's that Surface working out? With
Surface is a smart glass. And
those fancy commercials that kick.
I have
no one. Pretty cool, okay. I have to say.
Dude, I run Mozilla with freaking ad block. Okay, I don't see commercials.
I can't also think of that game, but I want to know when that game's coming out. From the people that made Shadow of the Colossus, weren't they working on that?
The Last Guardian.
What happened to that game?
It's kind of
development hell.
Development hell.
Still?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we call it, development hell.
At this point, I mean, they do say they're still working on it, and even though.
Do you think we'll see something for E3, maybe?
Maybe they pushed it back to this PS4, perhaps.
I think the creator left or something, and then they're like, "No, we're still working on it, but we had to restart it."
Yeah,
again.
I think he left the game industry in a way, but like he's still connected with the project. So like he's not. Yeah, it's in a weird fugue state. I don't know.
Sounds messy.
Yeah, but no, that's one to look forward to for sure. Whenever that is, starting to disappear in the vaporware. Half-Life 3. Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, my goodness. That'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, but at this point, the story is just like
everywhere
beyond my comprehension anymore. I don't know what the fuck is happening anymore.
I thought I used to consider myself a Kingdom Hearts fan.
Like I thought I used to know what was happening, but now it's just like. Now I think they're just kind of adding and making up shit, and they're just getting me confused.
It seems very well laid out, but it's convoluted as hell. We went through them last year, and we stopped at Dream Drop, and like last weekend we watched the cutscenes from Dream Drop, and I'm like, oh, a lot of this fell out of my head. I don't know what's going on.
Well, Dream Drop is just supposed to be taking place inside Sora's head.
Pretty much.
Time travel.
Yeah.
They introduced time travel. I'm like, no.
But it's all in his head.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Thank you.
Oh, geez.
That'd be great. Have Doctor Who.
Honestly, if they do that, then maybe some things will make sense in that series.
Mm-hmm. Or at least then they have reason to just like to cop out. Why did this happen? Sonic Screwdriver. Why did this happen? TARDIS. How did he date TARDIS? There you go. It solves really everything.
Yeah.
The hilarity of the week this week is where we talk about, some crazy story that has happened within the past couple weeks in the gaming industry. And this one story comes up, and it says, the title of the article, Mr. Devil May Cry fan, this is not how democracy works. He sends a letter to whitehouse.gov, not whitehouse.com. So at whitehouse.gov, they started to accept petitions, and if you've been paying attention, like they had one for the Death Star, and then they actually replied to the Death Star petition in a kind of clever way. But this Devil May Cry supposed fan says, Dear Mr. Obama, as a consumer of the video game industry, there is one video game that has caused a lot of controversy over the past few months, '*S?
Yes.
The name of the game is DMC Devil May Cry, made by Ninja Theory and Capcom. A majority of gamer *S are aggravated that this game has changed so much from its past predecessors, and the game actually insults the consumers in-game. It actually insults the consumers in-game, do tell. We as consumers did not want nor need this reboot, and we believe it violates our rights to have a choice between the original *S. Good God, that's awful. Or the reboot. This game is violating our rights as a consumer, and we believe it should be pulled off shelves from game stores due to its *S insulting nature and the fact that it violates our rights. Oh, it just violates our rights. Please, Mr. Obama, look into your heart and make the decision that will please us capital G gamers.
Did the person have a stroke writing this letter,
or they just can't English? They can't English at all.
It's most the internet.
Entitlement.
Me too sometimes.
Oh, very interesting.
What do you mean it's YouTube sometimes, Tony?
No, it's like the internet sometimes. Just people can't type.
I thought you said me too. Like what game?
Oh yeah, me too, dude. I typo a lot. There's no.
I thought you'd say like you'd write a petition to the.
No, I wouldn't write a thing like this. No. But sometimes I type and you're just like, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Maybe if I email Obama, I'll finally get a Pokemon Snap from Nintendo.
Yeah.
It should work like that.
Or an actual console game that has all of the regions.
Obviously, Mr. Obama has a button for all this shit. Obviously, we just have to write to him about it.
Why can't he just fix everything? It's that easy.
It reminds me of those kind of just jokes where like people like, oh, this goes wrong in the world, blah blah blah. Maybe in a different country, and they're just like, thanks, Obama.
Especially considering this is from a Japanese game developer.
Right.
That's even funnier.
because it insults the consumers in game. I think maybe they're talking about that. I don't know if you've seen it. They have a little scene where Dante is doing his thing, whatever, and then like a mop head falls on his head, and so it kind of gives like the white hair look, and he just like looks in the mirror, whatever. He's like, not in a million years, and then goes back to doing his thing. And like, is that the supposed insulting the fans? Because they like, that's kind of like the immature argument. It's kind of weird how the whole DMC thing, when they had the first trailer, like, it's not white hair Dante, rage, 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 and then like the game comes out and it's actually good.
I like that. I just saw one little cutscene in the trailer where somebody's like, "You're not on the list," and he just punches the guy, writes something. He's like, "I am now," and he drops it, and it just says, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? You just made up for everything in development that I didn't like just for that.
And then like one of the villains that's on the big TV screen is kind of a reflection of like Bill O'Reilly-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. I'm looking forward. Part of my gaming resolution is to play the Devil May Cry franchise this year, so I'm looking forward to playing it. But man, I don't know if it's going to insult my rights or violate my rights. The gamer apostrophe S.
Pause the game.
Pause the game.
If it does, you'll have to let Obama know right away.
I guess so. With apostrophe S is everywhere.
Mr. Obama, I did not enjoy this video game. Please make someone pay for it.
Sincerely, your favorite person in the world.
Sincerely, a capital G gamer.
And while we're at it, Mass Effect 3 broke the law. Let's complain to that government, agency, and blah, blah, blah. Tony, let's go through the story pool here. Because you put a lot of these down here.
Yeah, the THQ. I thought that'd be a headline.
I thought
THQ
so too,
selling all their
but
assets.
I think Smash getting into Evo kind of trumps
all that Evo stuff. Yeah, all that Evo stuff was crazy. But yeah, pretty much THQ sold off all their assets to various companies. I'm trying to think. Games of mention, South Park went to Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm. That's
Is there any other? Homefront went to Crytek. I don't know a lot of these other ones.
One of the studio that produced Dead Island got a couple of the franchises. And I don't know, people aren't pleased with that. What's the name of that company?
Must be interesting to watch one of these bidding things happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's very sad that had to happen. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people lost their jobs too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, the only games I've ever played from them though is the Tax series.
They published the Sonic Advance titles way back when.
Yeah, I didn't play too many Sonic games. I played the ones that were on the GameCubes.
Oh yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Adventure 2 Battle was honestly probably the best Sonic game in my opinion.
There's their HD ports on Xbox and PS3.
Oh, okay.
You should check that out.
Not the best ports, but yeah, the game is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you just didn't like the sound. What else didn't you like?
I don't know. I mean, I have so much nostalgia and enjoyment for that game that I think a lot of my judgment is still clouded.
Oh, yeah. Darksiders is still up in the air. That's the only one that's, like, up in the air right now.
I know Platinum apparently wants to get their hands on that, and that would be interesting. Yeah, you get it a Nintendo exclusive, maybe? Huh?
just keep stealing franchises and then making their sequels on there.
Well, speaking of Nintendo, franchise, Junction Point, the studio that made Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey 2, they went under as well.
You just skip right over the WWE thing, don't you?
Maybe.
They got bought out by Take-Two.
Woohoo!
That is a good...
Megami, doesn't Taka and Lanny watch wrestling?
They do, and my brothers used to as well.
Important people on the internet watch wrestling. Stop making fun of me.
I just don't get it, and
did you
don't understand why it's still popular.
Tony, you just compared yourself to those two, and I think you just implied that you're an important person on the internet.
No, I mean, no, I didn't. I'm saying that cool people do, and so uncool people like me are okay. So leave me alone.
Okay. Sure, we'll consider that.
Epic Mickey. Yeah, I don't know how. Did they make anything else besides Epic Mickey?
No. No, and I think
they were doing good, weren't they?
Well, I mean, I heard a lot of problems with those games. Like, they really paid attention to a lot of the details, but they kind of didn't really get the gameplay down, and that's...
Yeah, I played Epic Mickey, and basically that was the problem. They made it look too pretty and added a lot of cool features and stuff, but there's a lot of glitching and the camera sucks.
Yeah, I felt really sold on the game at, the 2010 E3 conference when they had the side-scrolling, black and white
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
thing. Like, I felt really sold on that. I'm like, Disney, yes! And then you play the first level, and it's like, what is this? This world that you have to...
I couldn't get into it either. What got me is it's like you went out of your way to platform to get things, and it's like you unlocked art, and I'm like, cool, this does not help me in the gameplay. There's just a lot of stupid little gameplay.
That's the problem. They just put way too much art, though. The storyboards are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love Disney storyboards. They are gorgeous. But yeah, that... once you get back into the game and you start getting pissed off, you don't want to play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, fuck the art, whatever.
Pretty much.
Jesse McCartney then tweets out a picture that he's in the recording studio with a Kingdom Hearts picture in the background. Might imply that the 1.5 HD mix, whatever, is going to come to the States.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's got to be a good sign because, I mean, they released it over in Japan with English dialogue, but they never, recorded more English dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Isn't the Kingdom Hearts 1 version in there also the final mix? Which America never got?
Yeah, so that's a lot of people didn't think we'd get it for that reason because they Nomura said some stupid stuff like, oh, I don't want to release that in the West. And I think Square's like, hey, we need money, so let's do that. It's that, and they need to reestablish the fan base and get all these over here just so people...
they gotta stop making Final Fantasy games suck.
They just need to make 15. They keep hovering in 13 world, and then they made 14, which was online again, so no one cared. It's like, guys, just 15. Just stop making 13 threes and stuff.
Or, here's an idea. Let's make something new. How about taking a risk and making something new? You're already losing the money, you might as well take the risk.
They keep making new stuff, but then nobody likes any of it.
What's the newest thing? I haven't really kept up with them, really, honestly.
They made Infinite Undiscovery and a few other ones that just bombed horribly.
But those were bad games.
So. Yeah, they were bad.
That's what I mean, and they won't they won't remake 7 or make another Chrono Trigger. They do need to kind of go back, but they keep just doing dumb things. I don't know.
Sony announces a PlayStation Vita referral program.
I wanted that to be the hilarity.
Yeah,
I
suppose
want you to make people buy Vitas.
I don't know, man. I couldn't pass up apostrophe S. I just couldn't.
I have to say I loved the podcast I was listening to because they said the best way to sell Vitas is when the PlayStation 4 comes out and they just throw the Vitas in the box along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Vita could be the controller.
Hey.
That's what they actually put into mind, saying that. I mean, and then it would sort of be like the Wii U, but we can't be clever for that.
No, I mean, if they had the Vita be the controller for the PS4, that'd be cool. It'd be expensive as hell.
And honestly,
but you're basically giving your people here's a controller. By the way, you can go off and do things with it too.
Yeah. So. I only know one person with it, and the only reason she bought it was for the Persona game.
You can make that 2 people. That is what I did as well.
Just like that guy over there.
I'm not interested. I explained it to somebody that most of those big Sony budget titles I want to play on my TV. I don't want to play. And some of them, they're like, but you can play PlayStation All-Stars on the go. And I'm like, but...
Why would you want to?
Yeah.
Why would you want to play the game?
Also, yeah, the game's not...
See, the problem is they're thinking too much. They're trying to do what Nintendo is doing, but not realizing that their games are not suitable the way Nintendo's games are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, and Microsoft's trying to do that as well. It's called Smart Glass. Everyone takes from Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then Grand Theft Auto got a September 17th release date. And makes it that's close to the same day as Borderlands 2 this past year. And then it's like, wow, that was 4 months ago?
Yeah.
Damn.
Thank God they finally put down a release date that they can push back.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that too. It's like, okay, Grand Theft Auto got announced. I'll wait till we get closer before I'll get excited.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's most of the time release dates are just down so they can push them back later.
pretty much.
Yep. Out recently this week, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch.
Yay!
Do you know anything about this game?
I know.
I hear the jump is useless yet amazing. That's basically all I've heard about the game.
Basically, since I can't play it since I don't have a PS3, I've been just watching some gameplay, and I've been listening to the guy in my podcast who's reviewed it, and he's loved it. It's basically like if you're really into like Pokemon or just like RPG elements at all, and just gorgeous art.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The game is beautiful. It's a really fun game. Yeah, there's little glitches, and yeah, if you're not the type that likes the grinding and battling little monsters, then it's not your thing. But honestly, it's doing very well, and it's a lot of fun from what
I heard they couldn't honor a lot of the pre-orders.
They talked about that on my podcast. I couldn't believe that.
I love when big games come over and they're like, no one's gonna.
They actually said someone from Canada actually bought 100 copies of those games and was actually selling them at higher prices, jacking
like
up the price.
4 times the price or something.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Oh, those Canadians.
They just screw up everything with your stupid. Remember they made a new Wii thing too.
Oh yep, the Wii Mini.
Oh yeah.
That was a good idea.
Yeah, we talked about that here.
But no, I mean that was a game that had a special edition that was really worth it because as far as I know, like it has a book kind of concept included in the game that is really beneficial to read it and all. Well, they included that book supposedly in this special edition, like the Wizards edition, I think they called it. And that would be a really cool thing to have, but man, if you can't deliver on that doesn't look good from a PR front. Although I agree, I'm hearing fantastic things about the game. Like it's right now at the top of my GameFly queue, and it says very low for a reason because I think everyone's trying to pick it up there.
Just tweeted buy this. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I'll get to that.
The Cave also came out, and that was the adventure from, goodness, I'm blanking on their names, Ron Gilbert and, what's the other one?
Double Fine.
Yeah, the Double Fine guys. That looks to be pretty good as well.
I was actually debating whether to get it for my Wii U or not.
Mm-hmm. So $15, give it a look. See if it's worth it there for you. And then the Hitman HD trilogy. If you have Steam, you could get those 3 games for like $6 on a sale. So,
HD.
Sure, is the HD worth it? Maybe the trophies as well. I'm sure the games are worth it.
I really like trophies.
I like them too, but sometimes I have to weigh the costs versus the benefits, and I'm like, I already got these games in that last Steam sale that I paid way too much just for all these games here. So, but that's out, and that's probably around $30 or so. So look into that as well. The soapbox is the part of the show, and we're kind of running a bit low on time here. So let's try to keep these a little quick. We give a little rant here about anything media related. And I would want to talk about 30 Rock and how it ended and how I'm going to miss that show dearly. But
because that's important gaming news.
Well, I mean, it's media. We like to.
This is just like a little 5-minute media thing.
I mean, Tony talks about wrestling sometimes.
I don't anymore because no one cares. No, everyone just checks out when I do that.
Well, I mean, we are part of the Show Me Your News network at showmeyournews.com where we have a bunch of different shows. And one of the shows I do is called WTF Pokemon. So when I mentioned before, like, I'm crazy about Pokemon, it's not just about, playing the games, like the first game I owned and all that stuff.
It's a way of life.
Well, I mean, it's a way that's Mucha Lucha, that it's a way of life. That's right. We just dropped some Kids WB reference there.
Old.
So old.
So old.
Well, WTF Pokemon, for those that are listening for the first time, don't know what the show is. It's where my brother, Sword Hunter, and we watch a Pokemon episode, and then we come up with the bottom 5 moments, because we think that the nostalgia goggles that we wear when looking back on the show, we have such fond memories, and then we look at particularly the older episodes of the anime and be like, that doesn't make sense when I'm looking at it at a more mature or critical mind. So it was a show that started in 2008. We did about the first 48 episodes up to Holy Matrimony. The analysis was good, the quality not so much. We come back from hiatus in 2011. We finish the Indigo League. We finish the Orange Island League. So, very beginning up through Orange Islands, we've looked at these bottom 5 moments. We've done movies at Youmacon. That's right, we do Youmacon. And I realized that, Megami, you've been to Youmacon, and there's, we could have met up, and like that's.
Hey, remember how you guys had sound issues in your panel? So did they.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we could totally share stories about that because.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, no, the WTF Pokemon panel that I hosted was like the first slot of Friday, where they didn't have the maps. It was at Kobo, and no one knew where Kobo was. And
Oh yeah, because
Nobody had schedules.
There was no schedules or
yeah,
programs.
yeah, I could go on that for a while. Anyway, the point is, my show is now doing this thing, WTFP Riffs, where now that we're working on the movies and all that, we basically riffed the third Pokemon movie. My brother and I, we put it out on our website at showmeyournews.com/WTFP. I'll have it in the show notes here. If you want to watch it along with the movie or just listen to it on its own, it's an entertaining listen, I think. So it's a fun show for all the Pokemon fans out there. I would recommend it. Not that I'm biased or anything, but
Turtle Land Speed Record's still my favorite gag.
yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to check this out because this sounds awesome.
I think you would like it.
I think you would too.
They put on a good show.
Yeah, but just remember the early episodes are like bad video production quality, but still.
It's
still
okay.
good content.
I mean, my Abridged series has pretty shitty quality in its beginning.
I think everyone goes through some growing pains here.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, WTF Pokemon. That's my soapbox there. Tony, what about you?
I wanted to ask Super and maybe Megami if she's kept up with it. What the hell is going on with this Alicorn stuff with Twilight?
Oh, I don't know why everyone's freaking out so much.
I'm following it because I kind of have to.
He works with Equestria Daily a little bit.
Okay. Well, no, basically from what I'm hearing, they're I don't know, there's just going to be a special episode where Twilight gets upgraded to an Alicorn, and everyone's like, oh my god, this is going to change Twilight's character, and I'm going to hate the show now.
Yep.
And that's basically it, and everybody's freaking out for no reason whatsoever.
That's it.
And one last, yep.
As if, like, Twilight's really that popular of a character. Honestly, she's one of my least she's like the Powerpuff Girls. She's like Blossom. Blossom's my least favorite. I don't give a shit. I give a shit about, like, Fluttershy and Pinky and Bubbles. They're the fun ones. I care about them. So if Twilight's doing this whole Alicorn whatever, I'm fine with it. That's fine.
I just realized that the Powerpuff Girls have very vaguely pony names.
They're coming back, too, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, that was the thing everyone was freaking out about, like, on the same
it's like,
day.
oh my god, their style! Ugh!
I kind of like the style, but then again, like, I'm not, superbly partial to the original.
It's just because fans, when fans love something for so long and then it comes back and it's different, it's just like, no! We want the same.
It's
fans
different.
Be fanning.
I think I went on a rant.
People don't like change, sadly. I can understand that.
I don't, it's like new designs, I'm like, whatever. The fact that it's like 3D animation kind of irks me. Not to the point where I wouldn't watch it, but that's not something I'm too fond of. I like 2D hand-drawn stuff.
Well, apparently I don't know why, but it's cheaper in the studios if you do it CG.
Oh, I know. I don't find it nearly as appealing to the eye.
Yeah.
Like they had that Green Lantern show and like Young Justice follow each other, and I'm like, man, Green Lantern looks like a PS1 game.
You know what's funny though? The Nickelodeon shows, like with the Kung Fu Panda, the Penguins, and Boneyard, like they all look kind of like, well, Pandas actually looks pretty good. I don't like the look with the CG and everything, but the writing is really funny in those shows.
Oh yeah, I'm not disparaging the writing. I just like 2D art a lot.
I mean, hell, when I first saw Ponies, I was like, what the hell is this? And then I watched more, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what this is.
I can get by it. Sometimes the writing could save the style,
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And before you know it, nobody's drawing ponies like ponies anymore. They're drawing them just like these ponies now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, the writing saves it because I'm watching a show with pink ponies in it now, so.
I'm not prepared to talk about ponies right now. I was here to talk about games.
Okay. Megami, do you have something you want to rant about?
Rant in general? Well...
Just talk about, or...
Well, I guess I've been ranting about this on Twitter, but the Innova League for Pokemon was a huge disappointment. It was like the shortest league I've ever seen. and it was executed so poorly, it seems like they just didn't give a shit and wanted to move on to N and Team Plasma. Which, I mean, you've been doing this show for so long. Why not just extend it to make the league longer? Because I mean, that's the whole point of each season, is to see Ash in the league. Mm-hmm. And you're just like not giving a shit about it. Like, well, it was like 4 episodes, like maybe 5. It was just, it's just like they just didn't.
He loses.
It's not the fact that he lost. Like, I didn't care that he lost. I was more heartbroken at the fact that he versed his rival in the first round, and he was gone. That moment,
he lost to Trip.
Well, no, he lost to Trip before,
okay,
but
right.
Trip lost to him in the first round of the league.
Oh.
They have never done that before, ever with a rival. They basically just went, fuck you, Trip. We don't give a shit about you anymore because nobody likes you. And I'm like,
they had said that.
That's true, but that's not the point.
Well,
You're not supposed to do
that. They did that with Gary in the Silver Conference, but that was like later, and it was a 6-on-6 battle. And that was a great battle, but
yeah, but see, like, I didn't like Gary, I didn't like Paul, but
Paul
they had good battles. They had a good pacing enough that I enjoyed the battles to see them. You know, Ash is supposed to fight his rival like near the close rank of the league, and the fact that he just knocks Trips, and the battle didn't make any fucking sense either. That was the worst battle I've ever fucking seen. I was so disappointed and so angry, and yet I'm still gonna watch this fucking show because I've been a fan ever since it aired.
Did they dodge and use dodge?
It's just Trip has this amazing superior. This amazing, super fast superior. And it's like kicking Pikachu's ass. Right. And then all of a sudden Pikachu just does this bullshit move. It's like the Thunder Armor episode.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Bullshit move where Pikachu's like Thunder Armor. That made me so... It reminded me of that time. And I was just so upset.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch my show. Like, no joke.
That was awesome.
So I guess if I had to rant, that'd be a good rant. Oh,
yeah.
And how come the Wii U is not a fucking DVD player yet? Like, what's going on with that? Like, really, you can't add that yet? Like, I have to wait till System 6 until you finally do that or something?
I mean, not even a Blu-ray player, not a DVD player even.
Like next gen, they'll have a VCR.
Okay, that's it. I guess that's right.
That was a good one. Good job.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a huge Pokemon fan.
Super.
What do you got? Top of that.
You guys find out that YouTube is introducing paid subscriptions?
What?
No.
Oh yeah. YouTube is prepping to launch paid subscriptions for individual channels on its video platform in the latest attempt to lure content producers, eyeballs, and advertiser dollars away from traditional TV.
Well, crap.
Yeah. Right now, YouTube has thrown out a lot of invitations to this paid subscription service where a content producer like Machinima or Maker Studios or Fullscreen would then opt to become a subscribed channel where you then have to pay anywhere between $1 and $5 a month to watch their media. I can see Machinima doing this.
Yeah.
I can literally see Machinima doing this because that seems like a really good way for money to come in. Has a lot to do with kind of that whole loyalty thing to your platform. I mean, you can still use YouTube. You can still use all that cool YouTube stuff, but you know, if you want to get the primo stuff, apparently that they're working is like for they have the option to have all their old stuff available for free, but all their new stuff but they also have the option to bring it all under their
kind of like
paid.
Does the content provider have to pay anything?
Can you say that again? You broke up.
Does the content provider have to pay anything?
They probably get paid more.
No, they get paid more.
Wow.
It's the incentive to the content provider.
You know, if Game Grumps doesn't do this, I'll be okay. Like, I won't care. I'll just watch only Game Grumps.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would be very surprised if they didn't send one to Game Grumps. If they didn't send one to John Trump.
I guarantee you they did, but I don't know. I feel like that would cripple a lot of them.
Yeah.
It could cripple a lot of them, but, you know, for things like Machinima and other networks that are very heavily YouTube-based, I could definitely see this.
Oh, no. Like people don't go to Blip as much because YouTube is just easier and it's free. Like
Yeah,
Blip's,
right now-
not that Blip's not free, but I don't know. It's just like ads and I don't know.
Well, Blip's way better with not being
Blip's
a
totally
jerk
better.
about copyright bots.
Right.
Blip, yeah, it's that, but Blip, I don't know. It's just YouTube's got like literally almost everything, so it's just easier and it's free, and people just go to it for that reason.
Right.
Right. Yeah, but right now, as far as we know, YouTube is treating this as an experiment. First of all, so I don't think we're gonna see many content providers go for this right off the bat. Like probably around 25 channels or something like that will go for it at first. I don't know when we're gonna see this roll out.
I'm glad to
I
see it
think
in an experimental stage at least, and
Yeah,
not
still
being
doing
thrown
it.
at it right away.
Yeah. For what we can understand right now, and they're trying to get this out as soon as second quarter.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're mostly targeting second and kind of like third tier cable networks as well.
I had to look into this because I want to get into this YouTube.
That's right, Tony. Make that money.
Yo,
Yeah, I don't know if I'll do that.
Cash. We did have a thought about the Super Bowl, but we're running really low on time. So sports.
Ray Lewis is a
Here's the abridged
Freaking
version.
drama queen.
Here's my
There you go.
dude is Chaozu.
here's my abridged version. Don't care.
there you go. Commercials, I'll see it if I'm actually paying attention to the game. I don't even know what. I
They're
think
all
the
just gonna be
49ers
up
are in
on
it.
YouTube anyway. So what's the difference?
Can I
But
throw
it's
this out
big.
as a fun fact for at least my posterity's sake? So, for those that don't know, I work in the communication PR department for Chrysler Group, and Chrysler the past 2 years is like the 2-minute commercials. The Eminem one, and then last year was the Clint Eastwood. It's halftime in America, and all that stuff. So this year, the commercial, some commercials for other companies, they've been out on YouTube and whatnot. They've, shown them early, and Chrysler's is completely top secret. Even to our own communication and PR department.
Wow.
For the
Oh, this
entire
better be
company. Like, holy shit. This better be a great commercial
This is gonna
because
be the best commercial ever.
Nothing beats
Gonna-
that High Life commercial last year, where it's just a
I
guy with
just-
the High Life, where he just goes High Life and it's over.
it was a good one. I mean, they've had, celebrities in the past. They've really built it up. We don't even know like what the time frame is, and we have people on my team specifically for the electronic digital media department in that little section who are like, we have to put up the press release once that goes live. So we're watching the game like just to see when that happens because we don't have a damn clue. So that'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see when it happens. I'm throwing my little Super Bowl party that I do every year, and I'll be paying attention for that.
Have a party. So you guys don't care.
There you go.
I probably would have had a party if like any of the New York teams were in it because that's all my family really cares about. So
I'm a Browns fan. I never go to the Super Bowl parties to see.
Lions. Tony, we got it bad. We got it bad. Super
We got it real bad.
Oh goodness.
But
Well-
I will say real quick, Ray Lewis is a drama queen. He drives me nuts. And also, I don't like the Ravens because they beat us twice a year. But Ray Lewis is just like, I mean, I respect him as a player and all that. But
Sure.
God, dude,
He's crying at the national anthem. I mean, you got to cut it out. It's okay. I know God is
watch that.
great. God is good. But it's football.
go
Got tickets to the Super Bowl, Jesus!
tackle someone's head.
Well, that about does it for all that we have on our outline here. Megami, thank you so much for being on the show. I hope it was fun. I appreciate all your insight here, and it was fun to have you on. I hope it was fun for you.
it was a lot of fun actually.
Excellent, excellent. Well, for those listening the first time, we are at showmeyournews.com, part of the Show Me Your News Network. More than just this one podcast. We've got a bunch of different shows there. Also, our forums at showmeyournews.com/forum. Join, and we have a pretty cool community there, I must
Gami,
say.
you want to plug your stuff before we head out?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Not
well,
that people would know.
Yeah.
well, yeah, everybody knows my old account is still down. So, but my FanDub account for any songs, if you want to hear me sing, is Megami33 on YouTube, and there's still the SMA series channel and the SMA channel for all your SMA needs. And you can always follow me on Twitter, which is also Megami.
She's leveling up. She's 36 now.
Also, Team 4-Star does things. I don't know if you've heard of them, but...
I could throw in Team 4-Star, not to mention Hellsing too, which who knows when the next episode is coming out with that. But yeah, Season 3 is starting of Dragon Ball Z, yay! And I get more Bulma lines, yay!
You get a lot of Vegeta interaction.
Bulma's back, bitches.
Totally.
And I got my man, and I'm gonna make a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the future.
It's gonna be awesome.
Can't wait.
And we got to meet up at YomaCon if you guys are coming back
totally.
next year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally. That's like my anniversary spot, because that's where I met my boyfriend.
Aw,
There you go.
that's awesome. That's like our big place too. So
I hope I can just throw out a few more things.
Absolutely.
I am working on a new parody series. I don't know when that's coming out, but look out for that.
secret.
And I'm also working on a movie podcast with my boyfriend. I haven't
I saw you guys were working on a podcast.
I came up with a name, but I'm not sure if we're going to use it. But we like to call it Cinematic Chatter.
I like the alliteration.
Basically, it's going to be a podcast based on, he's reading the book called 1001 Films You Should See Before You Die. And we're going through that and just letting you hear our thoughts about each movie as we watch them.
Jeez, that's kind of limiting, huh? It's 1001.
Actually, it's technically 1089 because some of the movies were removed from other older editions of the books.
Well then, that'll give you a couple more.
We thought it'd be fun, and we hope you can listen to it when we put it up.
Totally.
For sure.
Tweet at us when you get it out, and we'll help spread the word for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, hope you all enjoyed the listen. With that, I am Yoko.
I'm Super.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Megami33, bitches!
And we're out. Peace. SMYN News.
Aww.
So
It's a good con.
Oh no, I love it. Even if I don't get invited as a guest, like in the future with Team 4-Star or whatever, I'm still going because I love that con so much.
What did you think of last year?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
What did you think of last year? Because we were...
No, I was... Thank God. See, I always make schedules for myself whenever I go to a convention. And this was bad because they didn't tell any of the boys what they were doing. So luckily, I had a schedule already with all the boys' stuff.
None of this.
You know, I'm kind of the smart one next to Kaiser in the group. But I like...
Kaiser is so nice.
At least I like to say
yeah.
so.
Kaiser is the nicest person.
Kaiser stopped and had a conversation with us.
Oh, they're all nice.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some are crazier than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little disorganized.
Yeah.
A little messy, especially with the technical issues. That was a little worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, I had two videos for like this Pokemon panel, and so like I can totally relate with like, oh, this video is kind of completely blocking the center panned audio. That's great. So like when that was happening there, I'm like, oh, I know that feel.
Yeah, it was a little messy.
Yeah, like you guys couldn't get the dialogue for Hellsing to come up either.
But, I mean, I got to meet Nabashun and Scott McNeil, so that kind of, like, uplifted anything. I'm like, I don't care what happens. I got to meet two people that I've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I forgot my phone.
Not to mention being a guest, like, I can actually talk to them, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, see, another big thing, and I don't think you had to deal with it, is we had to wait in a stupidly long line for our platinum badges, but people who showed up the day of to get their badges
No,
had a much shorter
luckily,
line.
I've never had to deal with the platinum badges thing, like, because the boys seem to be okay with me always coming. I guess because, like, I'm the only girl that really, like, goes to these things.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's technically, well, there's White Ash, but she's, like, in China or something. I haven't heard from her in, like, years.
Oh.
And then there's the girl who does Chi-Chi, but I think she's from Cali? California, and I think she's either too busy or it's just, we need to invite her as a guest as well.
Right.
So, namely, it's just me.
See,
She doesn't show up very much.
I also remember your name coming up once in regards to Youmacon, because we're also close to the guys at Box of Danger.
Oh, so, yeah, I did an episode, I played Erica for their Pokemon Abridged.
Yeah, that's right. And I was talking to Grant once, and he's like, "Oh, you guys need maybe a big room for your podcast. We try to do a podcast at Youmacon," and it's like, "Well, I know maybe the Team 4-star people. Like I can talk to Megami. Like maybe hook you up." I'm like, "Oh, maybe." And then nothing happened out of that. But
I didn't see the box guys the whole time.
Yeah, well they showed
me and
up.
Grant have been trying to play Shadow the Hedgehog the last 2 years because we're the only two that like that game.
I will say that next year will be better, at least for anything relating to me. I am making sure I bring my so we can actually hang out.
He said
everybody.
Phone. You cut out horribly, but you said phone. I could not get a hold of him all weekend.
Yeah, I literally wandered for the entire con, and I ran into people that I was supposed to run into, but I didn't have my phone, and I have the worst tendency to hang around people who have phones. It's like they'll want to do something, but I want to do something else, and in the interest of trying to keep everything together, I say screw that interest and go and run off and do whatever.
Aww.
I think there was 2 times where I was like, "Dude, where were you?" And you're like, "I was looking for you," and I'm like, "I was looking for you," like a few times.
There are a number of times where I just kind of hung by the elevators. Because that seemed to work previous years. If you needed to run to anyone, just look at the elevator line.
Actually, that was another thing. This Youmacon, I did meet a lot of people that I'm friends with a couple of the staff members there, too. So I did bump into, almost everybody that I did want to see.
Yeah.
So I was kind of fortunate with that. But yeah, it was very messy. And I tried to do things on my own with my boyfriend, but we missed a lot of shit that I wanted to see, sadly.
Me too.
I went back to both Kobo Hall and the Renaissance Center this month for Detroit Auto Show things, and I'm like, all the Youmacon feels, flashbacks like crazy, and there was they had something